What's going on, everyone? I'm Paul LaMonica from the Low to High podcast, and in this week's episode, I interview University of Maryland All-American defenseman Brett Makar. Brett's from Yorktown Heights, New York, where he excelled in both football and lacrosse. Brett was an Under Armour All-American his senior year of high school and was ranked the number one defender in his class. At Maryland, Brett has been a starting defender since his freshman year and has stepped up as a leader in huge roles for his team. Brett spoke to me about his journey on why he wanted to become a Terp, how much of an impact his hometown has left on him, and a whole lot more. Make sure to go follow Brett on Instagram at BrettMakar1. And if you haven't yet, be sure to follow the Low to High podcast on Twitter and Instagram as well. I'll put the handles in the description below. Brett's a super nice guy, and he's a huge Packers fan too, so he'll be happy that they got a bye this week. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the show, and let's get right into it. The early bird, Brett Makar, University of Maryland defenseman and All-American this past 2020. Brett, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Thank you for having me on today, Paul. Appreciate it. Good holiday season, so a couple days we're doing a lot of eating and ready to get back to the grind. So
For sure. How was your Christmas and Christmas Eve? How'd you spend it? Were you spending it with your family?
yeah, a little more quiet than usual. I got a lot of family in Yorktown, but everything going on is a little bit smaller this year. But I got my three brothers and my parents, so spending time with them is always nice.
That's good. What was the dinner, the Christmas Day dinner looking like this past year?
Yeah, well, my mom always she does the turkey. She makes a really good turkey, and then my dad's side they always do pierogies around this time of year. They make a bunch of pierogies. My dad's Polish on his side, so that's kind of one of the things we've always looked forward to is making those pierogies and then being able to enjoy them on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love pierogies. Are so good. I think they're a very underrated food.
Yeah, no
And
doubt, can't
um
beat it.
and you get any good presents?
Yeah, nothing too crazy this year. I think my favorite gift, I got a new beach chair. That was much needed. Love going to the beach, going to Long Beach Island every summer since I can remember. So having a nice beach chair is a necessity. So that's definitely a gift that's going to be appreciated and well used.
For sure. Especially would have been good for this past summer, I know, since like I think a lot of people went to the beach this past summer since the whole pandemic went on. It was just a good
Yeah,
escape for a lot of people.
yeah, I love the beach. I'm a guy who sit on the beach, get on there 9 o'clock in the morning, stay on the beach till 6:30, 7 o'clock, no problem. So
I don't know. I think after a couple hours at the beach for me, the sand starts getting all over the place and you just find it every single part of your body. So I'm not a big fan of the sand, but I do like going in the ocean every once in a while. So Brett, you
okay.
ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
So where are you from, Brett?
I'm from Yorktown Heights, New York.
When did you first start getting into lacrosse?
Second grade YSC clinics. Like I said, it was always good having the older varsity players helping out and offering their time there. Guys like John Rannigan, Ethan Fox, Yorktown legends helping out at the clinic. Was always cool. And then having Coach Marr, Coach Carney, and Coach Adam Lodwick there. Second grade.
Did you always play defense or did you play a little bit of midfield?
Yeah, started out as a midfielder, and then my brother Tyler, who's a couple years older than me, was playing defense already in the YSC program. So as soon as I got to third grade and we were actually playing games, I think they kind of just thought it was a natural fit for me to go down to defense, and rest is history.
Did you play besides playing for YSC? Did you play for any club travel teams growing up?
No, just no limit, and then obviously Yorktown Ballers throughout the summer. Um, no legit club team. No, it was always just kind of playing with the Yorktown guys, and then we got the high school playing with our high school team in the summers.
Yeah, for sure. And growing up, who were some of your favorite athletes, either like in lacrosse, maybe favorite lacrosse athletes or just other pro sport athletes?
Obviously, growing up, 10 always growing up, especially when I was really young, third grade, fourth grade. John Rannigan, he had this almost all everyone was in awe of him. He was kind of in the godlike sense, the way he was. I remember he was one of the first players I actually remember watching, going to the games when I was young with my dad and my brothers. And then from a pro sports perspective, definitely Brett Favre, big Packer fan, actually named after Brett Favre. So uh, always loved watching him play. Kind of had that recklessness about him, just go out there and sling it. So I kind of always loved that.
They won last night. Were you watching?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Another nice thing about being home, getting to watch a game with my dad. He gets super into it, so it's always fun, especially on Sunday night.
Yeah, 100%. I know watching football with the family is always a big thing to do. Did you play any other sports growing up? Maybe not besides lacrosse.
Yeah, I played football from third grade through high school. Always loved playing football. So big. I think yeah, my favorite thing to watch is college football. Saturday in the fall, can't beat that. Getting up at early morning watching college game day, and then the whole day watching college football is one of my favorites. So
What do you think's been your favorite game to watch so far this year?
favorite game to watch this year. I don't just now that the SEC championship, Alabama Florida was fun to watch. That shootout, Alabama going up earlier than Florida clawing it back in. It was kind of like whoever had the ball last, you thought was going to win. So that was a good game to watch, especially with all the potential NFL talent on the field. That was a cool game.
I'm surprised. I thought you were going to say the Maryland Minnesota game like a month ago on Friday night. You remember
Yeah,
that game?
that was an electric game too. Watching that with a few of my buddies, a couple of my roommates. That was awesome. Yeah, they seem like they got, we're building on it. They seem like they got a good thing going, heading in the right direction with Coach Loxley. So, um, it's exciting times in College Park. Hopefully next year we build on this, add a couple more wins, get the young guys in, and exciting.
uh Raheem Jarrett. I mean, that guy, that kid's electric, man. That kid, he's a very good wide receiver. Same with Tualia
Yeah,
Tagovailoa. He's a great quarterback. So I'm very excited to watch what Maryland can do football wise. I think they're going to be a pretty good program next year.
yeah, no
So
doubt.
Brett, where'd you play in high school?
I played at Yorktown High School.
You're my not first, not second, but you're my fifth Yorktown guest on this podcast. We started off, I had Ty, I had Mr. Paul Carcaterra, and I had the Embry Bros. Now I got you. Hopefully, I build off that Yorktown pipeline going on.
Yeah, no doubt. All great guys that you just mentioned, and can't go wrong with get a Yorktown guy on here. Um, so can't say anything bad about all those guys growing up playing with the Embrees and TYC. Ty Cunnington and Jose lives two houses down from me, so uh, it's it's a good thing going.
Yes, it is. And going into your Yorktown days playing at Yorktown High School, what do you think were some of the toughest games you played there?
Toughest games. We actually played a pretty tough schedule. I think that was one of the advantages we had was our coaches were able to schedule a tough regular season schedule for us. So when it came playoff time, state playoff time, we were ready to go up with some of the Blue Bloods powerhouse traditions of New York State from Long Island and upstate. Toughest game. I mean, Chaminade, St. Anthony's, Darien were always really tough games. I remember 2016, my sophomore year. Played the Darien team, which is stacked. They were loaded with talent all over. I think that was probably one of the toughest teams we played against.
So here's a hypothetical question. So, Yorktown goes in, they're playing a number one team, number one nationally ranked team in the country. You guys come out in an OT win. What's the first song that's going in the Yorktown locker room?
Ooh, uh, probably. I just remember going back when we used to have big wins in high school. Levels by Avicii was always, I think, the first song that came on. I think that's probably a little basic, but you can't go wrong with that. Nothing gets the boys going like that.
No remixes. No one was a DJ on the team. No one came up with their own playlists and stuff like that.
Not that no one particularly stands out to me that was always on aux. I think it was kind of an array of guys. That it was always like the first one to the speaker would try and take it over, but that one song stands out to me after a couple big wins.
I think I always thought in my head that maybe JMO, DJ JMO, if he ever wanted to become a DJ, that'd be a pretty good name for him, DJ JMO.
Yeah,
So
he's gotten
maybe
big into the techno dance music scene. I think since we graduated, but I don't remember him being too big into it in high school. So
being a top tier defenseman, unlike being an offensive player where a team can have like a game plan of trying to double cover up that player or just face guarding with a shorty, what would the game plans be like for you in high school or playing again? What would the
uh,
game plans like? being for you, like playing
Yeah,
against you in high school?
I think at Yorktown, I was super fortunate. Our D coordinator, Rob Dorr, played at Hopkins and then played pro for a little bit. Great lacrosse mind. So I think we kind of had an advantage there where, uh, opposed to other teams where, we played against great coaching staffs. But as far as a defensive perspective goes, I really don't think you could beat that in New York State. But also, being able to play with great players around me, like you mentioned before, being able to play with Jose, guys like my brother Tyler, uh, Brandon Rouse, who played at St. Joe's. Um, we had in goal Liam Donnelly, who's currently playing at Albany. So I think we are talented across the board, so that always helped. But I don't think we ever really did anything too complex going into a game. We were very confident in our one-on-one matchups. So yeah, very lucky to play with the guys that I did in Yorktown, and then especially having a defensive coordinator like Rob Dorr always helped.
Did the how would you guys build chemistry, between like the four like the three close defenders, the goalie and the LSM? How would you guys like, communicate? Would you guys always be like even on and off the field just trying to understand what each other's play style is? How would you guys try and like talk to each other either on or
Yeah,
off the field?
I think an advantage of growing up for Yorktown for us was we were always together, whether it was playing in the summer or going through YIC. When you're playing with the same guys since third grade all the way through, you kind of get a feel of how certain guys play, their approach to playing defense or whatever it is. But I know just for us too, even being so living so close to Jose, we were always getting together and going to the field together and working on our game. So I think that was definitely a big advantage for us, opposed to you see now other towns, kids going all over the place to play with different club teams and spreading it out, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I just think for us growing up in Yorktown, we were always together, so that kind of helped us naturally gain that chemistry.
Would you guys always do like during the summer or like after practice? Would you guys ever try and play pickup games with each other, whether it was like non like I think what's called three by with each other, even if it was
Yeah,
just like a bunch of group of guys playing together?
I don't think I've actually played actual three by the actual game of three by competitively. I know that's a big thing for, when you had the Embrees on here, that was a big topic of conversation. But when we were in high school, Sunday or whatever it was, we were always trying to play fiddle. It was a big thing at team dinners, get some fiddle lacrosse in, and it got pretty competitive. So um, yeah, that was always fun.
Do you think stuff like that is what helped have what helped make your team have such good chemistry?
Yeah, no doubt. I think it was, just something fun. I think you're not even realizing it just by keeping the stick in your hands and working on your handle with the stick in a fun, competitive way. And guys just have that natural love for the game. So uh, no matter what form of lacrosse it is, anytime you get to play and make it competitive and get after, it's always fun.
Yeah, for sure. So, going back into like game situations, like you're playing in the game or like you're down a couple of goals, did you ever feel like you needed to take the game into your own hands at some point?
Um, Not really. I think as a defenseman, when it does get to that point, that's when you can kind of fall into the trap of taking yourself out of your game plan and getting in your own way. I think you got to approach defense as, yeah, you want to win your one-on-one matchup, but you also want to be a part of the bigger scheme of things, and being part of the team aspect of it is huge. You could have the greatest game one-on-one, and that'll definitely help your team if you're going against the best opposing player. But if your whole team isn't into it and your teammates aren't into the scheme of things and understand what you guys are trying to accomplish for that game, that's when I think things can go a little haywire.
So you think that's what like almost separates offense and defense is that defense you have to stick to the plan if you want to win. Like offensive guys can almost like make up whatever they want. I'm not saying they would, but like if they don't,
Mhm.
they could kind of stick off to the script and just try and let the game flow to them, or try and force it. And sometimes it could work, but you think defense that can never really work if you just try and force it too much.
Yeah, no doubt. I think everyone's got to be bought in. It's almost kind of like football compared to playing defensive lacrosse. It's everyone's got to be involved in the play and do their own piece, own part of the job to make it work. If
Hmm.
someone's playing great one-on-one defense, that's great. But you also got to be ready for that backdoor cut, or the attackman or midfielder off ball trying to cut the crease, or whatever they're trying to do and open a shot for themselves off ball. So it's kind of like that, where it's a puzzle of a sort, where everyone's got to be ready and on their toes to do their own part.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to like when you were growing up, you had other brothers in your household. So I'm guessing your mom had a pretty hefty shopping list. But how did your brothers help contribute to becoming the player you are today?
Yeah. So I have three brothers, two older. My oldest brother Keith, uh, he has autism, and I think just for us, like growing up, that was always kind of like a motivation for us. We always kind of like used him as our why. So that was big just for motivational purposes. And then my other older brother Tyler plays at St. Joe's. So I always looked up to him, especially when we were younger. He's 2 years older than me, so I never really got to play with him in YC or over the summer. So when I got to high school and I was able to play with him my freshman, sophomore year, and then be able to start down low with him his senior year, my sophomore year. That was really special. And then even now, being back home, getting to train with him all the time, and always trying to just improve each other's games and see what we can work on. And then my younger brother Evan is a senior at Yorktown now. He just committed to Pace to play midfield, so super excited for him. Um, and now he's really coming to his own. He was kind of a late bloomer in the sense where he was always a big kid, and now he's kind of putting it together, and he's turning into a good player. So
Having like older brothers, I have older brothers as well. You think having, a group of like three other brothers helping, like just growing up in the household helped like make you, like your brothers are always fighting together, pushing each other around. You think having your brothers around helped you become like, gritty, hard-nosed defenseman?
yeah, no doubt. I think especially when we were younger, we were always unawareingly just super hard on each other, no matter what it was, whether we were playing Madden or pick up hoops in the driveway. We were always super hard on each other, and I think that's honestly helped us become better players and get us to where we are now. Especially as we gotten older, now it's kind of just we're all best friends. There's not as much fighting going on, but we still have that competitive edge to us. I know over quarantine we were in the driveway almost any day, every day playing King of the Court basketball, so that got pretty heated. Led to a couple brawls, but all in all, super thankful for those guys. So
You guys, no blood, no foul when you're playing in the driveway.
yeah, you call fouls, you can't play.
Okay, I like that. So that's a little scary. I don't think I could play ball like that. I think that's a little scary for me. So,
Yeah,
going into your summers, playing for Yorktown Ballers or the other travel team you played for. What was your recruiting process like, and why'd you end up choosing Maryland?
yeah. So my freshman year really took off. I went to Showtime, Peacock's event, Maverick Showtime. Uh, After that, played there, and then obviously being able to play at Yorktown. But I remember after Showtime, my freshman year, it really took off. Um, and then I always knew as soon as I had the opportunity to go to Maryland, I couldn't pass up on it. That was always been a school I've wanted to play, especially when I was younger. The exposure Maryland got and watching all the great defensemen that have come through Maryland and all the great teams they have, and then especially once I really got to meet Coach Tillman, Coach Bernhardt. I knew it was a no-brainer. Two awesome guys that really care about you not only as a lacrosse player but a person and want to see you grow on and off the field. So
So seeing, in the PLL these past 2 summers, the Whip Snakes have all Maryland guys, and you get to see how well Maryland has made defenders. Is that one of the reasons why you wanted to go as well? Like after, even though this is like future, but like watching them play in the 2015, 2016, 2017 national championship, did you kind of sense that Maryland is just this breeding ground for defenders?
yeah, no doubt. I think the rich tradition they have, defensively is definitely eye catching. Especially growing up, being able to watch the Memorial Day weekend for all those years that they're in the Final Four and the consistent success they've had. That's definitely a no brainer, and they'll definitely catch your eye being recruited. And even now, getting to watch those guys in the PLL and then watch them do their thing, that's super special. And I think if you are a recruit and you see that and you play defense, that's something you can't pass up on. But yeah, even now, I like watching those guys play. It's like they're kind of reading each other's minds, the way they slide. Everything's push pull with those guys, so they got a good thing going. Fun to watch them play.
It's crazy because it's almost like they know what each other's because they've played with each other for like
Yeah,
7 or 8 years now that they kind of know how each other play, and they can almost read each other's mind, which is like crazy to think about is that they
yeah,
can read each other's minds. And Burnlord knows what he's doing behind, like he knows every single step they take. He knows like every single move that like they're gonna do, how they're gonna slide. So they don't even, if they didn't like, if they don't even need to communicate in a sense, like speaking about like who's hot, who's on ball. It's just they know everything's going to happen because they played with each other for so long. So I think that's super interesting. If you play if you play with a group of guys for so long that you kind of develop that almost like that sixth sense with each other.
without a doubt, without a doubt.
So you arrived to the scene in College Park your freshman year. What were you trying to contribute as a freshman to a team that just made it to the Final Four the past season and just won a national championship the year before that?
Yeah, I think for me, my freshman year, um, I was just trying to come in and get better every day. I think when you're placed at Maryland, there's no getting comfortable and there's no position that's locked up. Every single day, you got to kind of earn that respect and then give it back at the end of the day. It's kind of rented in that sense. But there was so many great players around me. Got to learn from great guys like Curtis Corley, Nick Brzezowski, Danny Dolan, our goalie. So there was a ton of guys that I was able to learn from and be able to grow my game in a sense where I was kind of be able to piece it a little bit together and make my game its own unique thing while learning from those guys. But yeah, I think the biggest thing was just trying to get better every day, especially as a freshman when you come into a program like Maryland. The only thing you could really do is keep your head down, really not really speak unless you're spoken to and kind of just keep grinding and stick to that grind.
Um, you know, Going into the preseason, how did you feel finally playing, or like what was it like finally playing like Division 1 lacrosse, like going into those scrimmage games, or
Yeah.
finally practicing up with those guys?
Yeah, I was definitely excited. I really don't think I was too nervous just because when you're at Maryland, you're playing against some of the best guys in the country every single day. You're guarding a Jared Bernhardt or you're guarding a Logan Wisnauskas every day in practice. It's hard to not be confident going into a game situation. Um, but yeah, especially with the guys that had me around me, they made sure I was comfortable and always had my back. I think the seniors and I was a freshman did a good job of making sure I was comfortable and helping me out as much as possible where it was needed. But yeah, it was definitely exciting. Like I said, all the great players around me that I went against in practice definitely helped. So wasn't too nerve wracking as I felt confident in my preparation.
What was like your like realization that you were finally playing Division 1 lacrosse?
Really, probably definitely. I know a lot of guys would say this, but kind of just putting it on that jersey for the first time, running out of the shell into Maryland Stadium was probably when you're like, wow, this is really happening. Like I'm doing this. Um, so yeah, that was definitely one of the coolest things, especially in college. There's so much that goes into it and so much preparation that leads up to it. You can kind of uh, lose its glow a little bit just because you're working so hard, you're doing so much on and off the field between school and lacrosse. And then when game day finally arrives, it's like, wow, this is really it. This is what all those hours and all that work has gone into. So definitely rewarding.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine. And you were given the starting spot the first game at close defense. What was some things going through your mind? Did you feel prepared for the moment?
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, being at Maryland and playing in the Maryland, defensive system and going against such high caliber players every single day definitely gives you that sense of preparation. So I think kind of just going into that game, not trying to do too much, just play within the system and be myself and not try to do too much. Stick to the system and play the best of my ability and trust my preparation and everything I did leading up to it.
Hmm. For sure. And did you have any upperclassmen that helped you grow both as a whole in the sport of as a person and in the sport of lacrosse? Someone that you could look up to.
Yeah, I know definitely going into my freshman year at Maryland, having Curtis Corley there was big for me. Um, Curtis is a big guy, and he's got this big guy and almost meathead persona about him, but he was really really patient with me and took the time to help me. I know he probably handled it better than I would have now. Not blowing up on me. There were a few practices if I watch the film now where I probably would have freaked out on myself. But he did a great job staying patient with me and helping me out. And then obviously having Coach Bernhardt is big. He really gets it. Even now, him still playing in the PLL and still being involved with the game as much as he is, he can really understand how the game has evolved and grown in the type of players that we're going against on offense. So he's been big for me. Even now, just trying to my biggest thing now is just trying to grow as a cerebral player. Obviously, trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, but try and understand the game better from, whether it's watching film or watching how the offensive guys operate. Just trying to understand, that perspective of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And what like the lessons you learned your freshman year, with your buddy Curtis and Coach Bernhardt. Do you think that like when you're like now since you're an upperclassman and there's going to be new kids coming in who probably going to make the same mistakes as you are, do you think you're going to be able to help teach those guys and help mentor them like you were mentored yourself?
Yeah, no doubt. That's definitely the goal. I think that's one of the great things about Maryland is that there is so many great players that are constantly coming through that you get to pass, the lessons that you've learned off to them, and it's kind of like that constant evolving circle. But yeah, no, it's definitely been cool, honestly, now being an older guy to pass off on the experience and the lessons I've learned and to those younger guys. And for me especially, I'm still learning. I feel like at Maryland I learn something new every day playing defense there, which is one of the special things about it. So anytime I can pick up something and then pass it off to a guy, kind of just trying to pay it forward.
Yeah, for sure. So, fast forwarding through the 2019 season to the playoffs, you guys take a tough loss to UVA in the quarterfinals. Going into that postseason, what were some aspects of your game that you were trying to grow?
Yeah, yeah, that was a good playoff run. Definitely a lot to be learned from it. Going into that, definitely as a freshman too. Like I said, it was always kind of just trying to play within the system and constantly get better and evolve my game piece by piece. But you can always get better as a one-on-one defender. Obviously, when you're guarding these attackmen. As the weeks go on in the season, you get deeper into the season, the competition gets better. So always trying to get ready there, and then obviously from like I just mentioned, a mental perspective, just understanding what we're trying to do schematically better. And then anytime you're watching film and you could pick up something on a guy, whether it's a little thing like he likes to do this when he gets to 5-and-5, or he likes to make this little move when he gets behind the goal, or if he's dodging you from up top, he likes to split to his left hand, and little things like that, stuff you can pick up on and try and dissect the game inside the game. I would say.
So when you headed back to when you headed back home to Yorktown and the season was over and you still had the stuff to work on like you're saying, did you have like your old friends back from high school, there was like Jameson or Hunter helping you with that stuff and you helping and vice versa, you helping them?
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, that's one of the great things about growing up in Yorktown, and even now, there's a lot of guys that are still playing, which is always nice. So anytime you go to the field, get fours going or sixes going, is always nice. Especially with the Embrees, those guys are competitors. And like I said before we started the show, I think they're two of some of the best hidden talent in America right now. So it's only a matter of time before they get their spotlight. But even having my brothers too. My brother Tyler, like I said, is playing defense right now at St. Joe's. So anything he notices in my game or anything he notices in his game where we can improve upon, we let each other know and try and help each other there.
Are there big film sessions in the Makar household on
Yeah,
Saturday mornings?
yeah, no doubt. That's especially me and my brother. We really don't get to see each other at all or talk to each other that much in the spring, just because you're so busy, you get caught up in the season and there's so much going on. So when we get home in the summer, we get to put each other's games on, whether it's on the huddle, plug it into the TV and watch it, and call each other out if we missed a slide or got beat behind the goal, whatever it is. So
That's awesome. That's awesome to have with your brother. That's a very
yeah,
cool thing.
no doubt.
So year two rolls around this past 2020 season. Maryland's winning, but they're struggling defensively. As a guy who played all of last season, who started all the games, did you realize that you're going to need to be a leader, even though you were still an underclassman?
Yeah, no doubt. I think we were a pretty new defense last year, bringing in Nick Grill, transfer from Marquette, Jake Higgins, Cleveland State transfer. And then all around as a defense, we were pretty young. John Geppert was moving from down low to long pole. Matt Hill was playing some close defense, playing some long stick maybe for us. So, and then Justin Sherrod played a lot for us as a true freshman. So there was a lot of new guys involved with the defense, and I think kind of we just had to build on that chemistry. We were learning how each other played, and I think we were kind of headed in the right direction. We were definitely trending upward before the season got canceled. So now going into this year, just trying to build on that chemistry and understand how each other plays. So yeah, this year is going to be exciting. Last year wasn't necessarily going the way we wanted, but I think we got the right guys and guys that want to improve it more than anything, and I'm confident that we will.
For sure. So, after the 2020 season gets canceled, what were some of your initial thoughts with your teammates, and like how were you still trying to, after the season was canceled, how were you still trying to grow as a player while you were home?
Yeah, that was definitely tough. Obviously for a lot of people that was unlike anything I think anyone's experienced. But yeah, going home middle of the spring was different. Kind of just like caught in a shock for a little bit, few days, and then you kind of realize it's time to get back to it and back to the grind. So I know my brothers and we have like a hill right down the road. We were doing that for a while, just running the hill, and then we got a squat rack and a little gym set up in our garage. So we were kind of in there every day, and then obviously, like I said, playing that king of the court in the driveway got pretty competitive. So yeah, we probably took a week off, let it sink in, and then was back to it. So.
Who squatted the most and who benched the most in the Makar household?
I think my brother Tyler got me on bench, and then I think I definitely could take the squat award there.
What about deadlift? No deadlift, or is it just squats?
Yeah, deadlift I would say myself too. Lower body, I think I have my brother Tyler beat, but upper body he's got me I think a little bit there.
And your younger brother didn't beat you in any?
No, Evan's getting there though, little by little. Every time I come home, I feel like he's grown another inch or he's put on another 5 pounds of mass. So he's catching up for sure. I'm the short one now. I can't stand next to those guys in pictures. They're looking over me.
You're over 6 foot. You're over 6 foot, right? So they
Yeah, I'm
must
there.
be. They
Yeah,
must be what,
Tyler.
6'3"? Yeah, what?
Yeah,
Yes.
Tyler's tall. Tyler's probably 6'3", and then I think Evan's up there now too. So, yeah, I'm the short one of the group. They got me there.
If that's what you guys call short, then I must be a midget. I'm 5'8", so that's well, that's not the worst thing in the world. What were some other ways you spent, besides training with your bros? What were some other ways you spent your quarantine?
Me and my brothers rewatched all the Marvel movies. I already watched them before, but my younger brother got really into it, so we watched all the Marvel movies as a family. Um, Other than that, nothing too crazy. I feel like a lot of the time we were in the garage or we're playing basketball in the driveway, trying to do stuff competitive. We made a couple Madden franchises with a fantasy draft, which was fun. Um, so yeah,
You kick out any TV shows, or it's just strictly Marvel movies?
yeah. I'm not a huge Netflix guy. I rewatched Entourage on HBO, which is
I
a
gotta
good
show. I
show.
got an entourage. I got an ent. One sec. I'll show it to you right now. I got my entourage poster in the
Yeah,
back right now. I didn't know you're a big
yeah. That's
entourage guy. I love that. Who's
yeah.
your favorite
Love
character?
Entourage. I like E. I like E. He's got a little fire in him. He's the short Irish guy, but he doesn't take crap from anyone, so I
That's
appreciate
good.
that.
I was. I
Yeah.
thought. I thought. I thought you would be a Johnny Drama guy. I'm a big Johnny Drama
Yeah,
guy.
love drama too. But yeah, I love Entourage. We watched it my freshman year in Allegheny Hall. All the kids in my class. We in the spring J term too. When we go back in January, we're like the first guys back on campus early January. So there's really not much going on besides lacrosse. So we started Entourage, and midway through the spring we were done with it. So great show. Had to rewatch it.
For sure, 100%. So, this past fall, what was it like going back onto campus and then finally start playing some lax for the first time since your season got canceled?
Yeah, definitely different. When we first got there, we didn't have like the okay from the university to practice yet, so we were going to local parks with some of the guys on our teams, trying to get work in any way we can. And we had a little squat rack set up in our neighbor's garage. A couple guys that are in my class, so kind of trying any way to find a way to work out and get a sweat in. But yeah, it was definitely different. Something you had to adjust to. But like this year, You got to be on your toes for anything, ready for anything, and so it was definitely different. But once we got to be able to get the pads on and get back out there with the boys, it made you realize how much you took for granted. Even something simple, just being able to practice with your teammates is something I know I personally took for granted and before everything that went on happened. So uh, even now, looking forward to going back in January and not going to take even the opportunity to play a game for granted. So
Yeah, for sure. I think for a lot of people, it's the first time since they were probably born or before they could walk, they didn't play lacrosse in the spring. Lacrosse, from January, even if you're in high school, from January, you're doing preseason with your boys, just early morning workouts and stuff like that until late May, maybe even August, late May to August. If you're playing summer lax too, it's the long stint of just playing lacrosse constantly and then just not, and then at like abruptly from middle of March to now, just not suiting up with your boys playing is something weird because it's just like it's a second nature for a lot of people.
yeah, no, without a doubt, without a doubt.
So, what was it like playing with the new guys that came on campus, whether it was the freshmen or some guys that transferred in, like Griffin Brown or Eric from Hobart? What's his
Yeah,
name?
Eric Holden.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're great guys, two great additions for us, and I think they're going to be, like I said, big contributors for our team. Both super competitive guys, and love having them aboard. And then as far as defense goes, I think what's something that's cool about being in college is every single year the new guys coming in and getting to get to know those guys. Coming from different all areas of the country and everyone has a different way they think about lacrosse. So just kind of see that when you're playing with them on the field, and like I said before, just trying to offer them any advice I possibly can. It's an exciting year. Love the group we have, and looking forward to getting back after with them in January.
and what are you looking forward to most in your upcoming, hopeful 2021 season?
Yeah, I think just for us, like I said last year, we were super young on defense. First time a lot of those guys were playing with each other, playing, for Maryland. So, like I said, just being able to build on that chemistry we had last year, I think we were trending in the right direction, and now just trying to put it all together and hopefully having a successful season.
For sure. So, my last question for you today is going to be a two-part question. So, incorporate the name of the podcast, low to high. I'm
Hmm.
going to ask you, what have been some of your lows while playing lacrosse? It could be like a missed pass, a tough game you
Yeah.
lost, an embarrassing moment on the field. What do you think that would be for you?
Uh, a low. I definitely think the lows probably stick with you more, but um, probably that last game against Virginia my freshman year. That was the ending of our season. That was the last end of a season that I had that, I expected last year ended abruptly. So, but yeah, that's kind of stuck with me. And that's been one of the sources of motivation for me going forward was, we are up 12-7 playing, on Long Island. I'm a New York guy. I had a bunch of family there, friends there. And, I kind of remember Christian Zawadski scoring the last goal we scored to make it 12-7, and I was kind of like, wow, this is happening. Like, we're going to the Final Four. Like, this is something that I dreamed about. One of the reasons, I came to Maryland. And then, it was kind of like just switched, before you could even, blink, it was tie game. And, obviously, it didn't end the way we wanted. So that's kind of been, and it was also a good realization for me. You could realize playing the game lacrosse, it's a game of runs, and playing at the college level, how fast things can turn. Um, so just kind of always using that as motivation and hopefully not having a game or season end like that again.
Yeah, definitely. Lacrosse is a game of momentum, so it's all about who's ever riding high is gonna come out on top. But it is. I mean, I don't want to say what it is because I
Yeah,
wasn't playing in that game, and I probably will never get into a moment like that, so I can't feel for you on that. I was watching the game, but I assume that was a very very tough loss. So, going with your lows, what have been some of your highs while playing lacrosse? Could be a huge game you won, a crazy goal you had. What do you think that would be for you?
um, probably going back to high school. I know for me, like I said before, never really getting to play with my brother when we were younger. So his senior year, my sophomore year, being able to play down low with him, and then obviously playing with a guy like Jose, who I grew up with. Lives 2 houses down the street was pretty cool. Us being able to all play together down low. And then, winning the state semifinal game against Shoreham at Hofstra was pretty exciting again to go to the state championship. So that's definitely something I'll never forget.
So I know JMO told me this, but that Shoreham game, he told me there was 10,000 people in the stands. Can you confirm this?
10,000 might be a stretch. Um, Probably more than 5,000, but I don't know about 10,000.
Were there a lot of people? Do you think there was a lot of people
Yeah,
there?
there was a lot of people there. That was always special about Yorktown. Was no matter if it was a football game or lacrosse game, they always showed out and supported.
For sure.
No doubt.
Brett, thank you so much for coming on the Low to High podcast. Wish you a happy new year, and I'm looking forward to watching you play in the hopeful upcoming 2021 season.
Yeah, no, thank you, Paul, for having me on. You got a good thing going, man. Thank you for doing your part to grow the game, and always here to support a Westchester guy. So you're doing a great job, man.
I won 4, baby. Let's go. Thank you so
That's
much,
it.
man.
Yes, sir. You got it, Paul.